that have been set up by the regulators. And when you put all of this together, you find out that it comes to what experience all of us are having. I'm not very sure there's anybody here who hasn't had a complaint in one form or the other or what a bank has done to him or her. And if you can trace it, it is simply because that bank did not comply with either a law, a regulation, a rule, a guideline, or a code. Somehow we have tried to compartmentalize some of these things. And you find out that in corporate governance, for instance, there are several issues banks have as problems. That is within corporate governance. If you come to risk management, the same thing. If you come to internal control management, the same thing. Relationship management, the same thing, and so on and so forth. So if we must address the issue of customers complaining, banks need to understand that they have to come back home and ask themselves serious questions. Why are our customers complaining? What is the cause? Who is responsible? And then how can we find solutions? Again, like I said, if they can look at the laws that are within us here and testify that they have been complying with all those laws, I'll give them a mark. Ethics and professionalism is a major issue, or there are major issues within the banking industry. As a matter of fact, it's because of the size of the complaints that customers are having within the banking industry that enable the regulators to set up what they call subcommittee on ethics and professionalism. Because we were bombarding the courts, the law courts, with cases arising from customer complaints within the banking industry. In order to relieve the judges, like my lord here, some of those issues, the regulators set up subcommittee on ethics and professionalism, which is being housed here in CIBN. And I can confidently tell you that the number of cases customers bring to that committee, if you mention it, everybody will be asking from where. When you go to banking regulation at CBN, they are also resolving complaints from customers. You go to NDIC, they are also resolving complaints from customers. So everywhere you go within this environment, the law courts, subcommittee on ethics and professionalism, NDIC, CBN, even ourselves as an association, we are also helping in resolving consumer complaints within the banking industry. What does that tell us? Does it tell us that the banks are doing very well? Apparently, the answer is no. I had suggested somewhere else that the regulators should set up a prize for any institution within the banking industry that we didn't receive a complaint from any of its customers within a year. Let us see whether that will be possible. Will any bank earn that prize? In a whole year, you didn't receive any complaint at all. Then you win a prize. That means you are doing very well. And I think that should be taken up, perhaps, by ACAMB. Because it is very important to find solution to the complaints. We all say that less than 30% of people who are qualified to have bank accounts in Nigeria are actually having bank accounts. And that is also impacting on the economy. If we can get all these people 100% into the banking system, then of course we would have made a point and would have been making progress economically.
Thank you very much, sir.
So the idea is that banks have failed us as customers. That's the truth. And they must find reasons to make amends so that we can all move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that input. And I would like to spin it on its head. One boss of mine would say, I'd rather see your resolution outcomes rather than you worry about whether complaints was going up or down. In fact, anytime you report that we have lower complaints, it says, are your customers tired of complaining to you? That the avenue for complaint should always be open. Because even what you have not done wrong may be a source of complaint. So I think we should keep that open, but rather let us work towards ensuring that the instruments and the mechanism for resolving these complaints are high. And to your comments, that maybe the price should be for the highest resolution and maybe minimal complaints. There can never be no complaints. This is the age of technology. So, but again, that is the life. We take on the challenge and we know that the future can only be brighter. So I'm coming to this side. Can we have a round of applause for these panelists, please? Excellent, excellent contributions. Thank you for doing justice and for bringing your industry perspective. I'd like just one question from this side. The elders, I won't call you today. Elders, I'd like one question from this side and one question from this side. Okay, Mr. Vapora, question from you, please. We have just 1 minute to take your question and answer, so please.
Thank you very much. Well, since I have 1 minute, I'm going to stand on all existing protocols. Now, I want to speak to the topic. Mine is not a question, just a side comment. And as a stakeholder and a member of ACAMB, former banker, still see myself as a banker. Now, I've crossed from the banking side to move to the media side. We just started a publication. In fact, I was just showing her a copy. This is the latest copy. And it's a research-based publication. We don't just write. We do research, consumer research. We interface every day with consumers on the road. We have a camera, we have TV. We go on the road and speak to consumers to get their direct feedback. What you see here says FinTech, tomorrow's banking today. We did the first quarter last year. We did a report where we asked consumers to rate banks, financial institutions. OPay, sorry to use the word, came number one. They were rated number one above all other banks. Part of the feedback we got, because I'm speaking to this topic, and I want to address some of the points that Lande made. I wanted to ask a question because you said you speak to your customers every day. I don't know what category of customers that you speak to, but I think the major challenge that we're having is speaking to the low end of the customers, of consumers. That's where a lot of money comes. You bank things that they make more money from the top end, but those low end customers who are doing POS transactions, ATM transactions, they matter a lot, and they are the one that constituted this bulk of this complaint we're talking about. So I don't think, because when you were saying that they're asking for convenience, they're asking for quick service, when we spoke to those low-end customers, you see border on issue of trust, lack of trust. I don't want to go into some of the complaints that we got. So my point is that if we're going to build a bridge or build bridges we're talking about, ACAMB, the key stakeholders have to look down and how to begin to address issues from the low end. That's where that complaint, where Shola is speaking from, that's where it's coming from. We got to look for how can we engage most of the customers that are below, how can we meet their need. They have a lot of trust issues, all right? She mentioned the issue about documentation. You see, so many of them don't understand it. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that today, ACAMB needs to move away from managing facade. All right? Apologies to use the word, because we do manage our entity, we manage corporate organization. We're looking at the facade, we're looking at how good we're looking. We need to go into customer experience management, customer interfacing point, the POS point. That's where we need to take our attention to. And once we begin to speak to that area, we'll be able to address the issue of trust that is falling below. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fora, for that contribution and all taken on board. And we actually understand some of what is driving why some fintech platforms would be more attractive. The responsibility of the regulator is to allow the same ease across the whole industry. If you allow certain platforms to do seamless settlements, then everybody should have the same. So once we have that, we will all be smiling. And those customers you are talking about, because we still have a lot of them with all the major banks, we need to take care of them. So there's a lot of work for all of us. ACAMB, we need to take out of here the roles that each institution stakeholder needs to play here, and how it then impacts the customer, and what our outcomes will be. And a year from today, what will we be saying? What has this impacted in how the innovation that we're doing from our end, from my end, how she's arbitrating, what the insurance guys are doing, what the pensions guys are doing, and the consumers, how is it that we're bringing all of this together to ensure that the port serves everyone the way we want it. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have done a good justice on this panel to discussing and bringing out the salient issues around these building bridges issues. Recall that we sought as ACAMB to achieve few objectives, educate customers. I think what comes out of this will definitely do that. Foster collaboration, that goes without saying. Reinforce industry reputation, that's our job. And as all of us are concerned, from the way you've heard everyone speak about this, that's top for us. And last but not the least, to ensure compliance and encourage innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's allowed. We have gone beyond that time. If you promise me that it won't be past a minute.
Okay, I just wanted to suggest that ACAMB needs to do more than this. I would like to suggest that out of the public eye, ACAMB should organize fora where these stakeholders can interact on the level, so you can take the outcomes of that and be able to implement it. Okay, so it's great that you have thought of that.
Thank you so very much. I was already hearing that deliberation going on, because again, as you hear, okay, this is what is important. As Mr. Fora is doing his own on that end, we take a bit of that, all the high-end or high-level ones that we're doing, and then we add the grassroots, meeting the various stakeholders, and the outcomes will be fantastic. Funlola, your mic is ready. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Landy. Thank you, everyone. Doctor, thank you.